Salam.
And welcome back once again. And now we go to Afghanistan, where the election continues, even though Taliban threatened to disrupt them. And we're joined from Kabul by General Chris Whitecross from the ISAF forces. Welcome, General. Today is a test of the stability of Afghanistan. Do you believe that you have succeeded in your unprecedented security measures? Have you provided security for the Afghan voters?
Well, I can certainly tell you that the voting day is halfway over. We have had a number of incidences this morning. We expected that, certainly, but the vast majority of them have been quite ineffective.
But a few hours before the voting started, Taliban targeted the headquarters of the NATO with a rocket. Fortunately, no casualties. There was also another rocket near the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. How would you assess the election day from the security standpoint?
Well, I can say in reference to the rocket attack overnight that we're not sure what they targeted. It certainly hit downtown Kabul, but in terms of the target itself, no one's aware of what that is. But in terms of the security, I can tell you that for the last 6 months, our Afghan and coalition partners have been working hand in hand to develop the contingency plans, to develop the security plans for each and every one of the polling stations and polling centers across this country of Afghanistan. And by all indications so far, the plans have been very good, been well executed. We have had some incidences. We certainly did expect that. When you look last year at the presidential elections, it was the highest number of incidences in certainly the war on terrorism here in Afghanistan. And today, like I said already, the vast majority of the incidences have been ineffective.
What about your role? What is your mission exactly today on this election day? What difficulties are you encountering as an ISAF force?
As the ISAF force, the coalition forces, we are actually in support of the ANSF, the Afghan National Security Forces, both the ANA, the Army, and the police, the Afghan National Army, the Afghan National Police. They are in the lead. They provided the planning. They are executing their plans for the security for each of the polling stations and the polling centers, and we are in support. So should something happen and that they require us to help them out, then we're there for them.
Let me ask you about the polling stations. There are some polling stations that were shut down. Have newer polling stations been opened? And compared to the previous election, how would you assess this year's election in terms of the security situation? Is the situation better this time?
Well, I can tell you in terms of the closure of polling stations, a number of them, as you know, were closed due to security reasons, and some perhaps even as late as this morning. But there are other polling stations that were closed for other reasons. For the logistics of getting there, for the population didn't warrant a polling station there anymore. So there were actually a myriad of reasons for closing polling stations. In terms of security, time will tell. The day is still young. In terms of the number of incidences compared to last year, again, we have seen a very small spike today. But again, I'd like to just reiterate that the vast majority have been ineffective.
We were joined from Kabul by General Chris Whitecross from the ISAF force. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.